of your community. I want to talk about public funding of sports stadiums and whether they're a justifiable use of your tax dollars. You guys live in Tampa, and I don't know if you know this, but 5% of everything that you spend, you pay a 0.5% tax on everything that you spend in Tampa. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. But I want to talk about whether this is a good use of your tax dollars. I'm going to discuss the following and attack what other people propose or benefits of this spending. I want to talk about the alleged financial benefits to your community, proposed increased employment potential for people, and I know you guys are in college, so I know that's something important for you, and the general economic soundness of funding these stadiums. First I want to talk about the financial benefits and how if this is a good investment of your tax dollars. And one of the things is municipalities rarely realize any financial benefit from this type of investment. And just one example is in Santa Clara, California. They're trying to recruit the 49ers. They're actually getting no financial benefits from their investment in bringing the 49ers to Santa Clara. Really just paying for the privilege of having them in their city. According to Judith Grant Long of Rutgers University, the cost is not just the cost of building the stadium. The cost includes the fact that they can't collect property tax on that because now they really own it. It also costs capital improvements. You also have land studies so that the team can build the stadium where they need to, and it also costs a lot in terms of maintenance and as well as public resources such as police in order to have games at that stadium. So overall, it's really not a financial benefit for the city that you live in. And also, according to the Economics Resource Center, typically these expanded facilities, just like Raymond James, usually the ticket prices are so high and the other costs of going to a game, the average taxpayer doesn't even realize the soft benefits of having a stadium in the town that they live in. Now that we've seen that these aren't really financial boons to the city, let's talk about employment potential. And really, for sports teams, there's usually two types of employment that increase in that city. Number one are the superstars on the fields and on the sidelines of these games, and also the low-income, parking and concession vendors for those stadiums. Neither of which produce any multiplier effects as far as stadiums, and neither produce any kind of real tangible benefits to the city as far as bringing big companies into the city or really having multipliers as far as encouraging talented people to come into the city. So really the investment in the city is just a one-time investment. And while the teams might have, they might increase the number of people they employ, it's not really an increase because a lot of times they have bigger facilities, more parking, more concessions. They're really just sucking in the jobs that the rest of the community used to have, so the net benefit is really minimal. People also talk about construction jobs. People building the stadium have jobs, but these are really temporary jobs and they don't last very long. And I don't know about you, but I don't really want to build something just to give people something to do. The only time you do that is if they're in jail. Now that we've seen that there's no real financial benefit and there's no long-term employment benefits to the city, we need to really think about whether these are really the way government should be spending their money. And not just their money, but your money as well. If we talk to Andrew Zimbalist and Roger Knoll, they talk about the opportunity cost of spending their money on stadiums, which are really lining the pockets of the owners of those sports teams, and really not what the public should be spending their money on, which is for education, transportation infrastructure, public transportation, of course, which we have a lack of in Tampa, and public safety and emergency response. Are these facilities self-financing in terms of tax revenues? And that obviously can't be the case, because if they were, when the stadiums are built, these taxes would go away. And I don't know of anyone that's ever seen a decrease in sales taxes or local taxes. also, if these really were beneficial, the owners of these stadiums, savvy businessmen that they are, billionaires that they are, they would have made the investment on their own and kept the profits to themselves. And it's obvious that these profits aren't being realized. So with that in mind, what we really need to think about is, should we be spending our tax dollars on public stadiums? And the answer is obvious, we really shouldn't. And I love sports as much as anyone, but to me, the free markets are always the best way to determine how for-profit businesses should operate. If I substitute the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Walmart or Home Depot, would you be willing to spend a half cent per dollar that you spend to bring them into your city? I would think not. So while there is prestige and there is pride in having a sports team in your town, is it worth spending that money, spending the money of your average worker who typically can't afford the increased ticket prices and the other increased costs of going to those games? Just doesn't seem right to me. So with that in mind, I want to thank you and have a great Memorial Day.